Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name's Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates, and welcome back to another video. Not long to go now, only 8 game weeks to go. Transfers, they're going to be big moves for the final few game weeks of the season. You've got to get them right to gain rank on your mini league opponents. Let's get straight into it.
So coming up first this week, we'll go for a goalkeeper. That's a little bit different from the grads, but they can score you decent points, especially in the double game weeks. Obviously, EDERSON is one of those players. Game week 34, Manchester City have Fulham and West Ham in a double. Obviously, they do blank in 32, so if you don't have your free hit, and you're not going to use your free hit in 32, he's probably one to stay away from. But overall, I think he's a good option to go for. He has got a low ceiling, don't get me wrong. It's a 6-pointer or nothing really with him. He doesn't make too many saves. But with those fixtures coming up, I don't see Manchester City conceding too many goals. What's your thoughts on him, Ben?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of managers out there who have sort of the likes of Kepa, who may be phased out. There's rumours that sort of Lampard's favouring a Mendy return potentially. So it's a good potential move to make. If you've got a goalkeeper problem in your goal right now, this is a good move to make. But if you're sort of not got any issues with keepers at the moment, it's not sort of the move to make that's going to get you loads of ground on your opponents. It's 6 points every week, hopefully. Obviously with the double as well. So yeah, it's definitely one to keep an eye on in terms of guaranteed minutes in that City team. So next up, we've got Crystal Palace player Mark Gay, and Palace have the best fixture run out of any teams going into this final stretch of the season. The only caveat to that is they don't have a double game week in that time, but the fixtures look nice enough for 4.4 million on Gay. Obviously, he's so cheap. The fixtures are good. There's not much not to love about this move.
Yeah, he's obviously a good replacement for some of the cheaper defenders that probably you might want to hop off now, like the Brentford defenders and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a good option, and like you said, the fixtures there are really good. Roy Hodgson's got Crystal Palace playing really well since he's come in. A lot of people were, a bit skeptical about him coming back in, but he's doing the business. They played really, really well against Leeds, and he could be a good option going forward if you're just looking for someone who's safe minutes wise, good fixtures. See what happens. So our final defender for this week's transfer targets is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, Liverpool did quite well against Arsenal in the end. Obviously, 2-0 down, came back. Trent with that little nutmeg on Zinchenko was rather naughty. That is at least 3 FPL points in my opinion. But yeah, obviously, next 2 fixtures, Leeds away, Forest at home. Obviously, a lot of people will be targeting Liverpool in that game week 32 on their free hits, me and Ben included. But that Leeds away fixture is interesting. Leeds obviously got smashed last week by Crystal Palace. The only issue I have with these Liverpool players this week is that they do tend to play a lot worse away from home compared to at home. What's your thoughts on Trent and Liverpool in general as assets this week, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, this week he could be, in terms of returns, get something. Obviously, what you're looking at is the home fixtures coming up. A lot of good home fixtures, 2 home ones in the double as well. So obviously, it's not it's a move you can make that you can bring him straight back out after 34 if you want the budget and the funds to move back into the midfield and the forward line. Whether it's value for money other than that, you err on a bit of caution with Trent Alexander-Arnold. A lot of hype will go into this double game week with the Liverpool assets. So it's important to monitor the points and the output Trent Alexander-Arnold puts out over the next 2 game weeks if he is a move that you're not making this week.
Yeah, I think someone else to sort of include in this, we haven't got a slide for him, but maybe Kanate. He takes away that sort of price pressure that you have with Trent and Robertson, and even Van Dijk seems pretty nailed in that team. I'm not sure what price Kanate is. I think he's around £5 million, which is
4.9. I think 4.9.
Yes. So I think if you go with maybe someone like him, you then can still have those funds around the rest of your squad, and it's lower risk as well. So even if he gets benched or something like that, you're not going to be too disheartened.
Okay, so next up we've got yet another Palace player. Their fixture run is too good to ignore. And we've got Michael Olise in here at 5.4 million. I think for a lot of players who are free hitting in game week 32, he's going to be a fantastic enabler with a fantastic fixture at home to Everton. Of course, the goals they're not too many. He performs exactly as he should in that regard, but he is overperforming slightly on the assists because he's producing a lot of quality balls. He's on a lot of free kicks and corners, for Crystal Palace. And I do think over the next few weeks, with the budget getting tighter and tighter, with a lot of players wanting to go towards premium players and even a free premium setup, Olise could be a fantastic enabler to do so.
Yeah, I think between him or Eze, you can't really go wrong. We also had Eze on the transfer targets last week, and him and Olise put in really, really good performances against Leeds. And yeah, if Hodgson's got them playing the way he has, I think they've had 2 games under him. They've played well in both of those fixtures. It'd be silly not to pick at least one of them up with their next 4 fixtures. I think you could even get away with him as a single transfer going into the next 4 weeks if you really fancied it, if you weren't really too bothered about the doubles, because let's face it, their fixtures there are some of the best fixtures you could choose if you could cherry pick any fixtures in the league right now. Next up is Jack Grealish, a double feature. He was on last week's and he got those double returns against Southampton, and he's on this week's. I feel like last week's video was very, very successful. So maybe you should listen to some of these picks this week. Obviously, Leicester at home this week for Manchester City. Dean Smith, newly in charge of Leicester. It'll be a very interesting game to see if he can actually get any tune out of that Leicester team that have been really, really suffering and struggling defensively and offensively. Even the likes of James Maddison, who had a really good fixture run in the last few weeks, couldn't really pick up any returns. I think he's got 1 assist in his last 7 game weeks. So let's see if they can change that around. But Jack Grealish, Ben, unbelievable form right now, right?
Yeah, he's in unbelievable form. He's producing some really good stats underlying, and he started the last 10 league fixtures under Pep Guardiola. We already know that Phil Foden is not yet back in training, so that further sort of solidifies Grealish's place in the team. Even when Foden does come back, I'd like to say that he'd be competing more with someone like Riyad Mahrez than Jack Grealish at the moment. He seems to be one of the most important players in that City midfield at the moment, with a nice home fixture against Leicester in 31, a tough one in 33 that you could probably get away with benching him for, and then a double in 34. I mean, Grealish looks like a great pickup at 7.1 million.
Yeah, 100%. There's just no competition for him at the minute on that left side. On the right side, there's loads like Bernardo, Mahrez. We've seen Alvarez as well potentially play out there. So it's interesting with him. I think that game week 33 fixture, although it is against Arsenal, I don't think it is necessarily too bad from an attacking point of view. You know, Man City need to win that game in order to keep this title race alive. So having Man City attackers in that fixture, I think, is a definite benefit, and we'll surely see some goals in that fixture.
So with all of these expensive assets that we talked about, a lot of talk about free premium assets, Andreas Pereira comes back onto our radar with 10 assists this season. And in that time, he's got the 10 assists. He's gone down 0.2 from his starting price, which is absolutely crazy. And like I said, he's a good budget enabler. 4.3 million. He's now even cheaper than he's ever been. Starts every game for Fulham. Very creative. Very attacking in a good Fulham team. It's not a team that's scrapping around the bottom of the relegation zone. They're a good team. And with an albeit tough double, they still got a double game week in 34. Josh, what do you make of the value Andreas Pereira provides?
Yeah, I don't think there's a better value pick in the game in terms of those budget enablers around the midfield, forward lines, etc. Like you said, he's gone down in price, which is crazy. Even their next few fixtures are really, really good. I know they're without Mitrovic, but for me, I feel that enhances Andreas Pereira as an option a little bit because he becomes the talisman and everything needs to go through him. Like you said, 13 returns in 29 games for that price is not bad. Even in the double, if he's on your bench, like you're going to take 4 appearance points in that at least. So I would definitely strongly consider him as an option if you need to move those funds about to, accommodate those big boys into your team. Next up is another Manchester City midfielder, and it is İlkay Gündoğan, 7.3 million. So he's a little bit more expensive than Jack Grealish, but he's in here because of his positions that he's picking up in that Manchester City team. Obviously, we've seen De Bruyne go off injured against Bayern Munich midweek. So there's a bit of, debate of who can play in that midfield position. And I think İlkay Gündoğan is probably the most reliable player in that Pep Guardiola team. Whenever Guardiola needs a result, he'll probably play this man, and he's been, working wonders for him ever since he has. What's your thoughts on him, Ben?
Yeah, he's sort of the perfect player to play behind Erling Haaland with the late runs into the box. And over the last few weeks, his heat maps have definitely improved from sort of games earlier on in the season. So I do think Gundogan is a good pickup and a really good differential compared to Grealish, who we anticipate is going to be quite highly owned this week. So if you are looking sort of make gains and sort of improve on your rank, Gundogan could be a really good option to go for. So next up, we have got a man who's just coming back from injury. It is Luis Diaz. Now, for this week, I'd err on sort of the caution side. I don't think he's going to go straight back into the starting 11. Klopp may ease him back in, but by the time we get to that double game week, he could be very good value for money at 7.8 million, and as a midfielder as well. Yeah, he could be fantastic. We've seen in previous seasons last year how good he can be, and he can produce some good returns. Obviously, this year, we've not seen too much of him, but we know the talent that he possesses.
Yeah, even in the fixtures he has played this season, 7 starts, 5 returns. That's the stuff that we sort of expected from these Liverpool assets this season, all season long. Not really been the case, even with like the likes of Mo Salah this season, they've sort of dropped off. But like you said, when he does get moving into that team, it's going to be one of those ones that you got to keep on your radar, see how many minutes he's getting, because he could be a really, really good option towards the back end of the season, especially with Liverpool trying to push into those European places.
Okay, so that rounds up our transfer targets for this week. Let us know what you think about the people we are looking to potentially bring into our FPL teams. Have we missed anyone out? Comment below if we have.
Yeah, it's going to be a tasty last 8 weeks. I think this week for me, I'll be looking to ship on James Maddison. So maybe one of those Manchester City midfielders, or even Olise, could be coming into my team this week. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, some interesting moves. And I think it's probably going to be a midfield change as well. Potentially Maddison out. I'm looking at one of those City boys. They're definitely taking my pick this week with a very nice fixture at home to Leicester. But yeah, as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week, everyone.